don't know what to do. I'm writing this from a plastic chair in a hospital waiting room. It smells like bleach and quiet despair. My parents are in a room down the hall, in a coma, and the doctors keep using words like unprecedented and unexplained. But I know that what happened, and I was there, I watched it happen, and the worst part, the part that is howling me out from the inside, is that I think I could have stopped it sooner. Maybe I could have helped. My life until a week ago was normal, boring even. I'm 18, just finished the soul-crushing marathon of high school final exams. My parents are good people, quiet, loving, a little old-fashioned, but good. My dad is an immigrant, came here with nothing, and has no family in the country. My mom was an orphan, raised in the system, so it's always just been the three of us, a small, tight-knit, unremarkable little unit. After my last exam, I came home and crashed. I was so mentally and physically drained that I slept for nearly 24 hours straight. It was a deep, dreamless, black hole kind of sleep. When I finally woke up, it was the next morning. The sun was streaming through my window, and for the first time in months, I felt light. The weight of school was gone. I felt free. I went downstairs to the kitchen, expecting to find my mom making coffee, the house smelling of toast, and the comfortable quiet of a Saturday morning. My parents were there, but they weren't alone. Sitting at our small kitchen table, in my chair, was a man I had never seen before. He was maybe in his mid-30s. He had long, straight black hair that fell past his shoulders, a stark contrast to his pale skin. But his eyes were the first thing you noticed. They were a shocking, brilliant, jaundiced yellow, like he was pale, sick with yellow in the eye, the color of a cat that has been sun-dried, or a canary, or a fresh bruise. They were fixed on the bowl of cereal in front of him with an unnerving intensity. My parents looked up as I entered, and they smiled. Not their normal warm smiles. These were bright, brittle, and a little too wide. "Good morning, sleepyhead," my mom chirped, her voice a full of octave higher than usual. Come, join us. There's someone we want you to meet." I just stood there, dumbfounded. A million questions were swirling in my head, but none of them could find their way to my mouth. "This is, a relative of ours," my dad said, gesturing towards me, towards the man with the strange, almost sickening eyes, almost reverent sweep of his hand. "He's been out of the country for a long time. He's going to be staying with us for a while." I finally found my voice. "A relative? What relative? You don't have any relatives here. And Mom, you don't have any at all." The bright smiles on my parents' faces flattered for a fraction of a second. A flicker of something, panic, annoyance, passed through their eyes before the manic, cheerful snapped back into a place. "Oh, you know, a distant cousin," my mom said, waving a dismissive hand, "from your father's side. It's a long story. We'll tell you all about it later. Now sit. Have some breakfast." I sat. The meal was the most uncomfortable, unnerving 20 minutes of my life. The man never spoke. He never looked up from his bowl. He ate with a slow, deliberate precision, lifting the spoon to his mouth and back down without a single wasted movement. My parents, however, never stopped talking. They kept up a frantic, one-sided stream of chatter directed towards him, answering questions he never asked, laughing at jokes he never told. "The weather is lovely today, isn't it?" my mom said to him. "You always did love the sun." "We'll have to take you to the park later," my dad added. Just like old times. It was like they were reading from a script or being forced to act like a puppet. Like, this was so unnerving. Later that day, when I got my dad alone, I pressed him. "Dad, seriously, who is this guy? Where did he come from?" My father's face went cold. The forced cheerfulness vanished, replaced by a stern, hard mask I hadn't seen since when I was a kid who had broken a rule. "His name is not your concern," he said, his voice low and flat. "He is our guest. You will treat him with respect. You will not ask any question. Not anymore. This is not up for discussion, young man." And that was it. The conversation was over. The first few days were a masterclass in quiet, creeping dread. The man remained a silent, unnerving presence in our home. He never spoke a word, not one. I tried once. I found him alone in the living room, just standing in the center of the room, staring at the blank wall. "Look," I said, my voice shaking slightly. "I don't know who you are, but can you at least tell me what you're doing here? But this is like my home, and I never got to finish. My parents appeared in the doorway as if I summoned them from thin air. Don't be rude to our guests, my mom snapped, her voice sharp with a panic I didn't understand. His family, apologize. I just stared at them, then at the silence of the man with the yellow eyes, and I retreated to my room. The house started to feel less like my home and more like a temple dedicated to this silent, creepy stranger. The power dynamic shifted in the ways that were both subtle and very terrifying. At dinner, my mother would serve his plate first, and then we would all have to wait. We weren't allowed to take a single bite until he had finished his entire meal, which he always ate with the same slow, methodical pace. Only when his plate was clean, we were permitted to eat our own, now cold, food. Then we were forbidden from speaking to him directly. If you have something to say, you say it to us, my dad instructed, his face grim. We will relay the message. It was absurd. He was sitting right there, but I saw the look in my father's eyes. It was not a suggestion, it was a commandment. The worst part? The worst part was the locked room. It was the spare bedroom upstairs, the one we used for storage. They cleared it out for him, and they started spending hours in there with him. The door locked from the inside. My mom would take him a tray of food, and then she and my dad would go in with him, and they wouldn't come out until long after dark. I couldn't stand it. The mystery was eating at me alive. I had to know what was happening in there. Last night, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I waited until they were all in the room. I crept up the stairs, my heart frantic drum against my ribs. The old house has old doors with old-fashioned keyholes. I knelt down, my hands trembling, and put my eye to the cold brass. The room was dark, lit only by a few dozen candles they had arranged on the floor. The inside seemed to shimmer, and the center of the room he was standing. His posture was rammed straight up like a statue, his head tilted back and his long thin arms raised towards the ceiling. His fingers splayed. He was utterly, unnaturally still, and my parents were on the floor in front of him, on their knees. They were prostrated before him, their bodies shaking, their heads bowed to the ground, and they were whispering a low, rhythmic, frantic stream of gibberish, a language that wasn't language, a sound of pure, terrified devotion. Hum Nom Shabai, Hum Nom Shabai, Hum Nom Shabai, Hum Nom Shabai, Hum Nom Shabai. They were worshipping a god. I scrambled back from the door, a wave of nausea, terror washing over me. This was wrong. This was a sickness. My parents were in some kind of cult, and this man was their leader. They were in danger. I was in danger. I ran to my room, locked the door, and I called the police. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely dial the number. I whispered into the phone, telling them, "Operator, please, please help me. Save my family. There was a strange man in my house. That my parents were acting erratically, that I was scared for our safety." They said they would send a car over immediately. I hung up, a small silver of relief cutting through my panic. Help was coming. Knock, knock. The soft, polite knock on my bedroom door made my blood turn into ice. I didn't move. I barely breathed. Knock, knock. I know who it was. I had never heard him move through the house before. He was always just there, but I knew. I slowly, shakingly stood up and opened the door. He was standing there, the man with the long black hair and the terrible yellow eyes, and for the very first time he had arrived in my home, he was looking directly at me, and he was smiling. It was a wide, thin-lipped maniac grin, a grotesque slash of white in his pale face. It was a smile of pure triumph, of malice. All the fear, all the confusion of the past week erupted out of me in a single raw scream. "Who are you? What have you done to them? Get out of the house. The police are coming for you. You hear me? They're coming for you." He didn't say a single word. The horrible smile never wavered. He just held my gaze for a long silent moment, and then he turned, as calmly as if he were going for a stroll, and walked down the stairs. I followed him, stumbling, my mind a blank roar of terror and rage. He walked to the front door, opened it, and stepped outside. He didn't run. He just walked down the quiet suburban street, his tall, thin figure silhouetted against the street lights, until he turned the corner and was gone. I ran back upstairs, screaming for my parents. I found them on the floor of the spare bedroom amidst the extinguished candles. They were lying on their sides, unconscious, their face pale and slack. They were breathing, but it was shallow, faint. They wouldn't wake up. The police arrived a few minutes later. It was all a blur, flashing lights, professional voices, and questions I couldn't properly answer. I told them everything. The man, his yellow eyes, the way my parents were acting, the room upstairs, him leaving just moments before they arrived. I gave them his description. Every single detail burned into my memory. An ambulance came and took my parents away. I stayed with two of the officers. They were sympathetic, but I guess they could see a little bit of skepticism in their eyes. They were told me that they were going to check home security footage. We had a small, simple system. Just a few cameras covering the front and back doors. I sat at my kitchen table, my head in my hands, as one of the officers reviewed the footage on his laptop. After a few minutes of silence, he called his partner over. "Hey, check this out." I looked up. The officer turned up the laptop towards me. The screen showed the footage from the front door camera just a few minutes ago. I saw myself, a frantic, terrified figure, following something that wasn't clear. I saw myself screaming at the empty doorway. I saw the front door open as if by a gust of wind and then close again. But the man, the strange man with the yellow eyes, he wasn't there. He wasn't in the footage at all. It just looked like I was having a complete psychotic breakdown, screaming at nothing. "There's no one under, son," the officer said gently. "The cameras didn't pick up anyone entering or leaving the house all night, except for you." I was still staring at the screen, my mind refusing to accept it, when I heard the other officer's voice from the other's room. He was on his phone, his voice low and urgent. "Yeah, another one. Same as the others. The parents are catatonic. The kid is talking about a tall guy with yellow eyes. No, nothing on the cameras. Same as always. It's the fifth one this year." He trailed off as he saw me looking at him. The officers wouldn't tell me anything else, just that they would be investigating. So now I'm here at the hospital. My parents in a deep coma. The doctors have run every test they can think of. They have no answers. Their brains just seem to have shut down completely. I know what happened. He was real. He was a predator. And my parents were his nest or his food or something I cannot begin to comprehend. He drained them dry, and then he moved on like a parasite. And the officer's words, the fifth one this year, he's still out there. He's doing this to other families. I could have stopped it. I should have called the police sooner, the first day, the first hour, the moment I saw him sitting in my chair. But I waited. I was scared. I was confused. And now my parents are gone, maybe forever. And it's my fault. I failed them. I was the one who only could see the monster. And I did nothing until it was too late. Thank you everyone that watched today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. This story was brought to you by Gamal Frank again. Make sure you go follow him on Reddit and leave a like on the main story. I will put the original source down and give him his flowers. Also, I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine. He has been streaming every day and also uploading video to his YouTube channel. I will put his YouTube channel link down below. His name is Rogue Samurai. Make sure you check him out. And remember guys, if you want to support me, you can hit the subscribe button so we can hit 100 subscribers, and also follow me on other socials including Twitch, where I stream from time to time, and also on TikTok when I post clips. And also you can follow me on Twitter for news, and you can join my Discord server, link below in the description, by accepting the rules and the roles. And remember to always take care of yourself, get some water, get some food, and always listen to your God, or what will happen will the God will come for you.